Hello and welcome to the Basic to Bold podcast. I'm your host, Jen Bjarnson. So today I wanted to talk to you about something that I have been talking to, I would say my community on social media for a while now, just because it's helped me so much in my life. And I still to this day use it because it's so important. And it was brought to my attention again, that as I was talking to somebody, that this is really important because somebody was dealing with something and I'm like, oh my gosh, you need to do this. And so I thought, okay, if this person forgot it, and I know I sometimes frequently forget to do it as well, I thought, all right, I'm sure other people need it. Somebody else is probably going to need it as well. So either you haven't heard of this or, it's not new to you, but you just need a good reminder. So before I dive in, please, if you find any value in this, share it, send it to a friend, or, just engage with us to tell us that this is helping. And I'm on social media everywhere, literally everywhere. Basic to Bold, Instagram, TikTok, all the good places. So, all right. So the concept is, I know so many people in self-help talk about gratitude, and gratitude is so important. It's so important. And I know having a gratitude of abundance and gratitude for the things that you have already, and looking around in your life and recognizing and appreciating what you have is so important. And that is, in no way am I trying to take anything away from that. At the same time, when I'm going to use me as an example, because when I was really struggling and fighting my brain, and everything in my life just seemed so chaotic and so overwhelming and so hard to deal with, and it felt like everything was attacking me, to sit back and be like, I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for the chaos in my life. I'm so grateful. Like, it was just really hard. It was really hard to look around. And I really tried. And I know there are people out there listening to my voice, and you've really, really tried. And I think even a point where gratitude, it made me feel worse. It made me feel worse because I was like, why? I am grateful for the stuff that I have. I am grateful, but I can't keep doing this. It's so exhausting. It's so exhausting to fight my head. It's so exhausting to wake up every day and to just feel a struggle and to feel like everything is just on top of me. And so for a really long time, I would try to do the whole gratitude thing, and it wasn't working. And then I figured out something else instead, and I figured out, oh my gosh, okay, that is helpful. And then now I would have to say, now I can do the gratitude, or I can appreciate, and now I can focus more on gratitude and abundance and appreciation for my life. But I had to do this first step, and that was really concentrate on that what I was doing was enough. See, I would walk through the day and nothing was good enough. Nothing I did was ever good enough. I was never being appreciative enough. I was never handling things well. I was never, just in my head, it was never good enough. I should have done better. I should have done more. I should have had a better outlook on something. I should have all this stuff of I should. And the reality was, it was just so overwhelming for my brain because it was just never good enough. And so for a minute, I don't want to say I stopped with the gratitude, because I never stopped feeling grateful. But at the same time, I focused more on waking up and saying, this is enough. This is good enough. This is what gratitude I'm feeling is enough. And I spent a crazy amount of time congratulating all the things that I did. And I'll tell you, it was so fascinating that for my head and for my brain, that gave me so much motivation, because the little bit that I was doing, and it wasn't a little bit, but I had this belief, who knows where it came from, or who really cares where it came from, is that this never enoughness, it was just such a weighted blanket on me, that when I started telling myself, no, I'm doing enough. This is enough. This is good enough. This is a great job. I'm doing good. It was actually very motivating, so that I could say, okay, now I can appreciate the things in my life, because I'm not just berating myself all day long. And I mean all day long. I was just berating myself for the things that I wasn't doing. And so I really made sure that I started concentrating on praising myself. And I know that there is a balance. There's definitely a balance. And I heard this a couple of days ago, where most people walk through life, and I happen to hear this in a religious setting, where most people think, oh my gosh, I'm killing it in life, and I'm doing amazing, and I'm keeping all the commandments, or whatever religion you happen to believe, but you're killing it and you're doing all this stuff. Or on the flip side, you see those people who they're just giving, and they're just like, they're doing all this stuff, and they're like, oh, I don't do anything. Oh my gosh, I'm so worthless. And so I heard that most people deal with this, coming up with this balance of like, you can't constantly be thinking that you're amazing all the time, because now we're never growing. So there's definitely a healthy balance of, okay, we need to keep growing. But then on the opposite side, you can't keep thinking, I'm worthless, I'm nothing, because now that's just depressing. Now that's like the helpless, hopeless, things are never going to change. What's the point, right? Like, what's the point? If you're never going to grow, things are never going to get better. You're always going to be this worthless, moron who is just constantly messing up. Then what's the point? What's the point in trying to get better? Why get up? Why be excited about things? You're just going to screw it up anyways. And that's the way that I was going about the majority of my life. What's the point of trying to even do anything, start a business, start a podcast, get on social media? It's just going to suck. It's going to be ridiculous. People are going to laugh at me. I'm not good at it. Well, of course you're not good at it. You haven't tried it. You haven't tried doing any of it. But that was my mindset. My mindset was, I'll forever be bad at it. I'm never going to get good at it. It's always going to be ridiculous. It's always going to be this. Oh, because I'm never going to reach perfection. And it really is, that's what it came to. I'm never going to reach perfection. So why even try? And when I say that, I know that sounds ridiculous. I'm very aware of that sounds ridiculous. Nobody's perfect. What's the point of even trying to be perfect? Like, that sounds awful, right? Like, never growing and just hitting a stopping point. Ugh. That's kind of the fun, is growing and having, I know this is so cliche, but having joy in the journey. That really is fun when you start looking at it like, okay, and now I get to do this. But it's only fun if you're thinking about it like, okay, I maybe I'm not great at podcasting right now. Maybe I'm not great at social media right now. Maybe I'm not great at writing right now, but I'm going to get better, and it's going to get better. And then eventually I'm going to be good at it, and it's going to be enough. It's going to be okay. Are there probably going to be errors? Absolutely. But it's going to be okay, and it's enough for right now. That's exciting. But if you just wake up and you go, okay, well, I'm going to make a podcast today, but it's going to suck, and it's going to be ridiculous. I'm going to homeschool today, but it's going to be horrible. I'm going to be a mom, but I'm never, what's the point? I'm going to screw up my kids anyways. Like that's just so exhausting. So there's definitely this balance of, we have to find some self-worth. You have to have self-worth. And to get self-worth, you have to praise yourself. You have to congratulate yourself for the things that you're doing, for the things that you're contributing to, that you've decided to get better at, that you've decided to put the effort into, and to consciously grow and get better and gain skill sets, and to be better in relationships, and to be better in business, and to be better as an individual, and to gain knowledge, and to have and impact on other people's lives. There's got to be some level where that was you, that you decided to do that. And congratulate yourself for the fact that you didn't give up. Do you know how many people, look around, how many people are just full on giving up? What's the point? Life sucks. Life sucks and then you die. And I was one of those. I mean, a majority of people I hung out with were life sucks and then you die. And so I'm empathetic towards it, but the fact that you haven't given up, and you know how I know you haven't given up? You're listening to this podcast. Nobody who's given up listens to self-help, listens to mindset stuff. Why? Because they're trying to get better. Because they're trying to find something in this life that makes it just a little bit easier, that makes it just a little bit moving forward. And if you're listening to this, that means you haven't given up. So congratulate yourself on that. I don't care if you're in bed with chips and donuts sitting around you. I don't care. You're listening to this. You're trying to get better. And I'll bet if you're listening to this, you're probably listening to other things. I'll bet you're listening to Ed Milet or Rachel Hollis or Jordan Peterson or a bunch of other people that are self-help. I'll bet you're reading books. I'll bet you know about Atomic Habits. I'll bet you know about Gary Vee or some people in the self-help space. You know these people. And if you know these people, that means you're trying to get better. And I don't care if today you've given up. I'm doing air quotes, given up. That's okay. But you are trying to move forward. And you need to congratulate yourself on the fact that you're doing something to move forward. It doesn't matter how fast you're going. It just matters which direction you're headed and that you are increasing, and I don't care if it's by the tiniest margin. The fact that you haven't stopped and the fact that you're moving forward, you need to congratulate that. And I know, I totally get that gratitude is important. And we can't walk around, I get it, like just self-gratifying, like I'm so amazing, self-praise. Okay, that's a level, it can be a level of narcissism. I get that. But the opposite is just, it's hopeless, and nothing's ever going to change. So you can't go there's no good going one extreme or the other. Being nothing but self-praise and you're amazing and you can do no wrong, not good. Being absolutely worthless and you can't do anything right, not good either. The point is to find that balance, to find where you're moving forward, where you're pushing forward, that just even the tiniest little bit. Now for me, and this is what's been really interesting, for a really, really long time, I preached this, I screamed it from the rooftop, self-praise, congratulating yourself every day. This was so important to me. And it still is now. But this is the thing, I'm going to mention to you the journey that I have found, which I think is interesting. And this was even a short time ago, I don't know that I'd really noticed this. Now, I still to this day, I'm very much congratulating myself. It's enough. And I definitely can tell now that I've made a habit of congratulating myself and self-praise, I definitely, it's not as much work. I don't have to think about it all the time, but I do notice every now and again, I'll get really intense on something and I'm just like, this needs to be better and this needs to be better and it should be better here. And this isn't good enough and and like, I didn't say that quite right. And so I think, and I should re-record that. I should do this over again. And I've come to a point where now I catch myself fairly quickly. And you will too. If you keep trying this and you keep doing this and you keep moving forward, at first it's going to take some effort because you're not used to it. It's not a habit. So it's going to take some effort. And then it's going to be a habit and you're just going to be like, this is good enough, I can move forward. And you'll catch yourself every now and again, like I do. I catch myself every now and again going, I should do this. And then go, okay, I'm being a little obsessive. That's a little much. Like, it's fine. It's good enough. The thing now now that I have a healthy balance of self-praise, now I find when I go to gratitude, I really genuinely feel gratitude because there's a healthy level of praising myself and self-worth. So now when I look around and I can look at my life, I really can focus on the gratitude, and the gratitude actually, it feels the way people talk about in self-help books and self-help podcasts and the personal development world. And maybe that was just me. It could totally be me. But I remember when people would talk about gratitude and just, hey, if you want to feel better, just sit around and be grateful and look at all the stuff that you had. Without self-worth, I don't exactly know why. I haven't really deep dived into this, and maybe one day I will. But the gratitude just made me feel worse without self-worth. And I'm sure there's a whole mindset thing behind it and underneath it. But the point is once I had a healthy self-worth, once I could really see the value in myself, then gratitude felt good. Focusing on abundance and the things in my life and the relationships and me as a person, that felt good. But when I didn't have a healthy self-worth, gratitude it made me feel worse. It just made me feel like, why do you deserve this? Why should you don't even deserve to have all this stuff. And it just made me feel worse. And so when I would listen to a podcast or I'd read a book or something would mention, hey, you want to feel good? Just feel gratitude. If you have a really bad self-worth and value of yourself, it didn't make me feel better. And maybe I'm really exposing myself here. Maybe this is a whole thing where you're like, you're on your own on that one. And it's possible. But now I like myself, and I can say that. And I like certain things about myself, and I feel good about myself. And it's not so much like, I think I'm pretty, or I think I'm, this, or, oh, I'm a 10. It's not that. I really genuinely I really am starting to, and I think it's starting to become a good balance of liking who I am. And I think it's because, number one, I learned who I was. I learned the good qualities about myself. I learned the things that I can bring to this world. I learned the things that really what are me. And it's not a looks thing. It's not I have a nice hair, or I have a good bone structure or something. I don't know. I'm just picking stuff out. But it's nothing like that. It's not loving who I am in a physical way. I really like the way that I think. And one of the reasons I like the way that I think, because I don't see many people thinking the way that I think. Like when I have a conversation with people and I say, hey, have you ever, isn't this kind of an interesting thought? I get a lot of looks like, how did you come up with that? And maybe in their head they're going, oh, that is far out. And that's fine. But I like thinking like that. I like the way that I think in a weird way that most people don't think about, because I think it's interesting in conversations. And so I like that about myself. And it's things like that add to my value. If you're struggling with your value, a few things that really helped me. Number one, learning your energy type. I talk about this all the time. Carol Tuttle, learning your energy type. For me, finding out that I was a type 4, that, yeah, maybe I do focus on like perfecting things, and maybe I'm really analytical in some ways, but at the same time, that analyzing, it makes my brain work the way that it does. It makes me think of things, and try to be very efficient, and that makes me happy. Could I go too far? Absolutely. But by understanding that that's the way my brain naturally works, now I know if I'm going too far. If I'm saying, okay, it's okay that that's the way my brain works, but this is a little too much. And that's okay. That's okay. Let's like reel it back just a little bit. Same thing with I have family members who are another type. And we can have those honest conversations where they're being a little too much of their type, whether it's emotional, whether it's aggressive. And I can just say, okay, that's, you know what? I love this about you. And it brings a lot to the world, and it's really, really amazing. But right now, that it's not helpful because it's not getting the desired outcome. And it's not in a negative way. It's not, I know sometimes that a lot of people get labeled too much, right? Like, you're too much. And that's negative. But I think there's also a way that we can say, hey, this is going a little bit farther than what's helpful. And yeah, maybe it's a little too much, but not in a negative way. It's just, we've gone past the point of helping now. And that's okay. Just like, let's reel it back in. And so understanding it for me, I know when to reel it back in, because I now know my brain's going to naturally go there. But sometimes going that far with the analyzing, going that far being efficient, going that far as like perfecting, is not helping. That's not helping the situation. Is my brain going to naturally do it? And that's just kind of how it is? Yes. But it's not getting the desired effect that I want. So understanding who you are. Now, if you want to learn human design, if you want to learn the Enneagrams, go live your best life. I just personally like Carol Tuttle. So that's who I like rave about, because that's who's helped me. And I love how it's helped me to not only see myself, but to see other people, see how it works in relationships between, whether it's my partner or my kids or just a friend. I love that. The other thing is, I just recently did a podcast about your 6 needs. That is another thing that was super helpful, because a lot of times when there's a negative emotion, it's usually because I'm wanting one of those 6 needs. So understanding that, now when I go to like a negative place, I can go, oh, I'm probably needing something. And if it's a need, very, very, very rarely do I attach that to somebody else. Now I get it myself. And so understanding those things, understanding how my brain works, understanding who I am as an individual, it's really helped me to now see my worth and see my value and see what I can add to things. Just like in this podcast, like, this is the way that I think. And so I really genuinely hope it brings value to other people, because this is what I think. And I wish I had somebody to listen to when I was like fighting my brain. And so I'm putting it out there in hopes that it helps somebody. And then this makes me feel good. It makes me feel good to share like my thoughts, and that somebody might be listening and people might be going, oh, that's helpful. And so understanding that helps me add value to my life. And so I really want to challenge you to find who you are as a person, to find that self-worth and your value, and not in a physical form. I mean, if you happen to be beautiful and amazing and you want to really love yourself in that way, I am all for it. But also start looking at how you add value to this world, and not add value to other people, but like you matter. And by starting with self-praise, it can insanely help, because I'll bet somewhere along in your life you were told many, many times, you're worthless, you don't matter, whether it was consciously or unconsciously, you probably got that. And so I'm all for gratitude, but I had to start, first of all, with praising myself, congratulating myself just for the things that I was already doing, and that I was doing enough, figuring out who I was. And now I find that gratitude, I really genuinely feel it. I can truly look around and I feel so happy when I want to express gratitude. And when people are talking about, if ever I'm having a bad day, I just think about all the things, and I'm so grateful for, my life. Before having self-worth, before having this practice, I would try to do that. And I I don't know what to tell you. It was not working. I just felt worse. Now I'm like, I get it. It feels good. I am truly grateful. I'm truly grateful that I get to sit here and talk to you. I'm truly grateful that for where I live. I'm so grateful for the relationships that I have. I'm so grateful for what's in my life right now. And I'm like, I get it. And when people talk about it on podcasts or during interviews or in books and they have a whole section about gratitude, I'm like, it is. It really does help. But I think a lot of times people can easily try to jump to gratitude and then get frustrated if it's not working for you. So it's okay. It's okay if you have to start at the very bottom. Because all you're doing is you're training your brain how you want to behave now. I've said this a few times, but I find it's so important. And instead of focusing on who you were, because it's so easy to sit there and be like, yeah, but you don't understand. You don't get it. You don't understand my life, how I grew up. And I probably don't. I probably don't understand. At the same time, I love this analogy. I'm going to guess it's an analogy. And that is, I heard this from Esther Hicks. And she talked about, a lot of times every day we get up and we have this blank canvas, white blank canvas in front of us. And for a lot of us, we get up and we just pour black and navy blue and dark greens and dark purple. And it's just all this darkness and all this, it's not brown. And when we get done throughout the day, all these colors that we put on there, it's not nice. It doesn't look good. It's just dark and it's just dreary and it's just sad looking. And she goes, but every day, we've been doing this for years and years and years, but every day we get a brand new canvas. Every day. And she goes, a lot of people think when they wake up every day that they have to go and remove the black and remove the navy and remove the dark colors and remove the sadness and she goes, you can just wake up and start painting with yellow and red and vibrant colors. So it's like you can just start painting with those colors. You don't have to remove the black. You don't have to remove the dark. And that was a whole new concept to me, that I don't have to wake up every day and try to fix what I did in the past. It's helpful. Don't get me wrong. I love hypnotherapy. I love hypnosis. I love meditation. I love that kind of stuff, because there's some stuff that just feels stuck and that you just can't get past until you've really deep dive, figured out what the problem is, and then removed it. So I get that. But at the same time, you don't have to go back and fix everything. Some things you can just literally start painting. You can just start painting the way you want to start painting, which means, if you were a person who's really sad and really struggling with being happy, you literally could wake up today and go, I'm now a happy person. And this is from a person talking about, or I'm a person who I get it. I had anxiety, I had depression for decades. I get it. And I hated that when people were like, you can just decide to be happy. It's a lot more complicated than that. At the same time, there's a certain level that you do get to decide. In fact, recently, I'm in a coaching group and they challenged us all to run a mile. Now, I always had a joke. It wasn't a joke. It was actually real life. I had a joke that would say, if I'm running, you all better be running because something's chasing me. That's how much I don't run. I wasn't interested in running. I'm not interested. There's nothing in me that saw the point in running. Nothing. Well, I'm in this coaching group and everybody is doing the challenge. And I go, oh, call. Okay. I guess I'm going to do the challenge. I guess. Why not? And my coach, my mentor, basically gives us this whole, speech about how, doing hard things and doing stuff that you don't want to do and, challenging your brain to all this stuff. And I get it. And I'm on board. And I'll probably do the same thing to you guys of challenging you guys to do stuff that you don't want to do. But the whole time I'm like, there's nothing about this that I'm even interested in other than the fact that like everybody else is doing it and I don't want to be left out. And I don't want to be the person that didn't do it. And I don't want to be the person that gave up. That was it. So here's the thing that I do find interesting though. For the first time in my life, from day one, from the absolute start, I told myself, I'm a runner. When people asked, I don't know why, but it just happened that like a couple of days later, somebody asked, they go, oh, what do you do to work out? And I said, I'm a runner. I had ran twice at that point. I'd ran twice. Prior to that, or before that, I had always told people, oh, I hate running. I'm zero interest in running. I will never be there's nothing in me that wants to run. If I'm running, you all better be running. And after 2 days of running, somebody asked me, what do you do to exercise? And I said, I'm a runner. I didn't say I'm trying to be a runner. No, I'm a runner. I run. And they're like, oh my God, oh, cool. And we started talking about running. And now I did say, I'm new to it. I'm just starting out. But yeah, I'm a runner. And the interesting thing, so this is something I wasn't planning on talking today about, but this is something that I did find interesting. So now I am 3 months running. Okay, the challenge is over and I decided to maintain it because here's why. I did notice other things and I'm not going to go into it, but I did notice other things and I thought this is interesting that I want to keep testing it because I do find this fascinating how it's affected my body, how it's affected my brain, how I'm handling other things just because I started running. Now, I do work out, but I've never been a runner. So this is a whole new thing for me that I find fascinating. But this is what I want to talk about because I think this is really interesting. Because I started saying from the first day I started running, I told people I'm a runner. I run. I'm a runner. That's what I do to work out. And I even told myself on the first run, I'm a runner now. That's who I am. I'm a runner. Oh, yeah, I work out. I run. Even though my time was not good, not even going to say it, was not good. And I was huffing and puffing about a quarter mile in. The thing that was interesting is how quickly it became easier. And I truly believe it's because I told myself I'm a runner. Because the first few times that I ran, it was miserable. I hated it. I was not enjoying it at all. But it was really fascinating. At the end of the challenge, in my head, I thought, am I going to keep running? Am I going to keep doing this? Like, I didn't want to start doing this. I had no interest in doing this. At the same time, it felt weird to stop because in my head was now, but I'm a runner. Why would I stop running? Of course I'm going to keep running. I'm a runner. That's what I do. And it's kind of the first time I've ever really, really dove in from day one. Most of the time, I fight it and I'm just like, oh God, I hate this, whatever it is, right? Like whatever it is. And then when people are asking me about something, I'm like, I'm trying it. I'm trying. And trying is a horrible word. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So if you're going to start something, that's who you are now. Day one. I know I've already given you a challenge, but if this is another challenge that if you want to start something from day one, you want to start a new language? Day one. Yep, I speak Spanish. I speak, French, whatever. Oh, you want to start the piano? I'm a piano player now. And it was really fascinating how quickly my body just matched it. And don't get me wrong, it it was painful. I would say it was it was painful, but it was very quickly not painful. All right, I know I kind of went down the rabbit hole, but I do think it's important to really commit to stuff. And now I'm blown away how much running, how easy it has become in such a short amount of time. And I really do believe it's because of the way I told myself. And now it's just who I am. I'm a runner. Yep, I run. I have a slow time, probably, but I'm a runner. All right. I've really enjoyed this conversation. So I hope you guys have too. I hope you find value in it. And if you did, please share it. Please send it to somebody who you think it could help with their life. And until next time, see you guys later. Have an amazing day.